Hi guys, first video here. I want to start with a very common request and I will show you how to use your custom shoes in VStitcher. This applies to both shoes created by you or downloaded from online libraries. And for this example, I'm using assets from online libraries. So you can simply do a Google search for free 3D shoes. You see that you can find many options. There are different websites, but I particularly like to use Sketchfab because of the quality and because it's quite easy to use, but feel free to explore any other websites. So here on Sketchpad, make sure that the model you choose is downloadable and also check the license because you might need to credit the creator if you're using the asset. For this tutorial, I'll choose this band shoes and I'll bring it to Blender. So here in Blender, let's start by importing this OBJ file that we downloaded from Sketchup. Sometimes they are inside other folders, so make sure that you extract them. Then after importing, the first thing I like to check is the size. And as you can see here, the shoe is quite large. So let's scale it down to a more realistic size. Don't worry too much because you can always make any final adjustments in the size in VStitcher later. So for now, let's just set it like this. Then after scaling, this is very important, we need to apply all the transformations so the scale is locked in. Next, let's check the materials. Let's switch to the material preview mode. If everything looks correct, then there's nothing else to do here. Now let's enable the solid preview and display the wireframe. This is important because it will help us to see how dense the mesh is. You can see that this one is flight detail and we don't need all of this geometry in this teacher. It will just slow it down. So let's simplify it. And to do that, we will add a decimate modifier. This will reduce the polygon count based on the ratio that you set on the slider. So after you set the correct ratio, you can always check in the viewport how it's changing. And when you find a good balance, then you can apply the modifier. Now let's create a collision cage for VStitcher. So basically, this will stop the garment, so the pants to go inside the shoes and to create some weird collisions. So basically, we are wrapping the shoe around a cage. So usually I use a UV sphere, but you can also use a glue or any other mesh. Let's add the object and let's scale it roughly to match the size of the shoe. It doesn't need to be perfect, just surrounding the shoe is enough. Then with the cage selected, the sphere, let's apply a shrink wrap modifier. Let's set the target to the shoe model. So this will wrap the cage around the shoe surface. Let's adjust the offset slightly to make sure that the cage is not intersecting with the shoe. This will create like a small margin, which will help to prevent later the garments to go through the shoe, but still it will look like it's on top of the actual shoe. So when you are happy with the sphere, let's apply the modifier. And again, important, let's apply all transformations. To make sure that this cage is not visible in this sphere, we need to assign it a transparent material. So let's go to the shader tab. Let's create a new material. And very easy, we just need to set the alpha value to 0. And this is done. So then the material is completely transparent. So we are done here. Let's export this to VStitcher. So usually I prefer to use FBX file because then it will export all the materials and it's easier to work with. And on the right side for the FBX export settings, make sure to set the path mode to copy and click the icon here to embed the textures. And also, if you scroll down, make sure that apply transformation is enabled. So now let's open VStitcher. Let's open an outfit that you're working with. In this case, I have this very basic one. And under the 3 tab, let's go to the closet. And then we click Add Shoes. We select the FBX file that we just exported from Blender. The shoes might look a bit large. It's okay. We can always scale them here. In your case, it might look okay. So really, you can make any adjustments here for the scale. Usually I like to use the bottom view to check the alignment with the avatar's feet, so it's usually easier to place the shoe. Then you can use this gizmo tool to move or rotate the shoes into place. When you are happy with the position, make sure to enable include in simulation. So this will make sure that the shoes will be part of the simulation. Otherwise, the pants will just go through the shoes like they were not even there. And this is where our page that we created will make a difference. And then you can simulate and use the styling tools to fine tune the garment. So, for example, I do this a lot. I use the move tool to lift the pants slightly above the shoe and then just simulate. And then I use the pinch tool to tweak these small details. And as you can see, quite easy. That's it. As I mentioned in the beginning, this applies to custom shoes that you created in Blender or in any other software. And you can basically do this with any asset. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.